I am glad to welcome you to the Auto Problems channel. Any reliability, sooner or later, comes to an end. But in the world of cars there are absolute champions who, after 30 years, run in sufficient numbers along the expanses of CIS roads. The Volkswagen Passat B3 is one of those cars that you will get tired of looking for in the message boards. These cars are valued, and the owners are extremely reluctant to part with it. The Passat B3 was produced from 1988 to 1993, after which the before was produced until 1996. In fact, it is a deep restyling, nothing more. Produced in sedan and station wagon. Most often under the hood there are mono-injection engines 1.8, injection 2.8 and diesel 1.9. Using the example of an early version with a 1.8 engine, consider the B3 up and down. So what do you need to know when buying a VW Passat B3 in 2020? The Bosch single injection system is an example of reliability, proven over the years. Paired with an engine that does not have outstanding performance, this is an excellent tandem of reliability. By the way, even on a run of 350,000 kilometers, many copies do not require major repairs with the replacement of a piston, demonstrating compression by 10 to 12. But there are also weaknesses that have to be treated. Gap between manifold and mono-injector due to gasket. The idle speed controller often fails. By and large, this is all that usually fails on these motors. The timing belt can force the owner of the Passat to go to the service, which still has to be changed. Most of the cars have a manual transmission, but from the first years of production there were also automatic transmissions. There are no complaints about the mechanical part of the gearbox, especially if you change the oil on time. The clutch should be enough for at least 200,000 kilometers, and the cost of the kit varies from 4,000 to 8,000 rubles. Replacing the kit yourself is easy. Shrsanthers need to be monitored. Once every 5 years it is better to change them along with the lubricant, then the CV joints will not require replacement for a long time. The front and rear suspension is simple, which means reliable. Often, those who like to increase or decrease the clearance install shock absorbers from before, although they are exactly the same as B3. The difference is only in the number of coils of springs. Most likely, it is you who will have to change the front levers. On average, the lever costs 2,000 rubles, and its replacement at the service will cost 1,000 rubles. If everything is in order with the lever, then ball bearings will require attention, which change separately from the lever, and at a cost do not exceed 700 rubles. You can replace them yourself. The rear suspension is dependent. Often you have to pay attention to shock absorbers. It makes no sense to buy shock absorbers more expensive than 1,000 rubles apiece. You can also replace them yourself. This will take no more than 2 hours. You can also replace the front pads yourself. This is a completely standard procedure. The main thing is to lubricate the guides. The rear drum pads are somewhat more difficult to change. Often, servicemen cannot remove the drum, citing the fact that it has become attached. In fact, this is due to the self-breathing mechanism of the pads. The main part is a wedge, which needs to be lifted through the hole with a screwdriver, and after that the drum can be easily removed without a sledgehammer. The salon is not beautiful and modern, but for its age it was quite good. The main thing is that the quality of the materials here is at a high level, which to this day allows you to drive without superfluous crickets and squeaks, of course, depending on the degree of operation of the car. The instrument panel is easy to read. There are all the necessary parameters for control. All buttons are conveniently located. The fabric upholstery holds up well to this day. Comfort is something that many new cars need to learn. Despite some asceticism, sitting in the car is very comfortable. The body gets the most, and it suffers first of all. At a venerable age, you often have to cook thresholds, rear arches with painting. These are the two most vulnerable places that you should immediately pay attention to if you want to buy such a car. If you plan to leave the car for a long time, carry out anti-corrosion treatment with a complete disassembly of the interior, as well as a thorough cleaning of the internal cavities and bottom. Keep in mind that you will hardly find new body parts, but there are a lot of parts at disassembly at reasonable prices. Yes, this car is incredibly reliable, and to this day, without major repairs, it can run tens of thousands of kilometers. When purchasing a car for 60 to 100,000 rubles, you still have to make the initial costs for comprehensive maintenance, although this amount is unlikely to exceed 10,000 rubles. If you want a Passat B3, consider it with a 1.8 engine and a manual transmission. The simpler, the less problems. If there is no air conditioning and hydraulic booster, then they can be installed independently by purchasing a kit from disassembly. In its price range, the Volkswagen Passat B3 is the perfect everyday car. That's all for me. Thank you all for your attention. I will be very grateful to you if you subscribe to the channel. See you soon.